Hi, welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi, Chris.
What should we do today?
Well, we have a lot of new customers that have purchased the accounting modules, and usually when we start going with these modules, they want to know, what reports are in the system for accounting, where they are, the data that's in them. So can we
Sure.
take a look at some of those reports?
Yeah, sure. We can focus today maybe on the business critical type reports, which typically would be your accounts receivable invoice, of course, the statement, generally speaking, the reports that you send out the door to the customers.
Okay.
Your AP check maybe to your vendor, the 1099 report maybe, and your financial statements out of the general ledger.
Okay.
So we can look at some of those today and some of the key functionality that those offer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. We can start with within AR, and we'll take a look at the invoice. Okay, so I actually have one here that I can print out. This one here for you. So if we just print this to screen, the name of the report is actually Invoice Credit Notes. It's the same report whether you're printing an invoice or a credit note. Okay. And effectively what you're seeing is you'll see the Bill To section up at the top here. You'll see the specific customer information here on the right. And then the lower section in the body will be your line item detail. Okay, it does break out the line item along with the line item comments and the PO number. Okay? And then as you scroll all the way down, you'd see your the summary of the totals.
Now, if I wanted to have this report customized, could I do that?
Sure, absolutely. All of these reports open up in Crystal Reports and can be modified either by yourself or by us.
Okay.
Every one of them. You'll see the same toolbar at the top. Okay, so you can either, export this report. You can email it as a PDF. There's a lot of consistency with every one of these reports and how they open up. So if you want to modify them, if you want us to modify them.
Okay.
Okay. One of the other things you can do specifically with this report is getting back to modification is you can add your logo here. If you have the logo saved in the database, this is one of the reports that would print automatically.
Okay.
Okay. And of course the email as PDF, getting back to this here, this is a nice report where that would come in handy quite often. If you're going to email your customers copies of the invoice, you can do that right on the fly.
Okay.
Right through here. Okay. Okay, so that would be the invoice. Anything maybe that I missed there? Any additional questions?
Nope, I think that explained it well.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at the statement then. And for that one, I'm actually going to go right into our reports menu in AR and print the statements. And I'm going to print this just for a single customer. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, again, this is a report that you could have your logo filled on the top. You'll see your customer information here, the statement date, and then the transactions. And it's pulling the transactions that have an open value.
Okay.
Okay, very straightforward. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see your aging, what's current, what's 31 to 60, and so forth, how the balance is broken out. The statement date again, the account number, and then the total due.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Those would be the two in accounts receivable that would be primarily, dealing with the quote-unquote business critical. There are a couple in accounts payable. Okay, we can take a look at the AP check. Oops. Which is actually under the remittance advice /check, and you can of course print this report in the batch inquiry as well. I'm going to print it from here. Just print the last. Okay. And it'll of course warn you if they've already been printed. This is a report. The system will allow you to reprint the checks, even if they've already been printed, but you will get a message that they've been printed. Are you sure you want to reprint them?
Okay.
Okay. And the way it's going to work is, of course you'll see the vendor name, vendor ID. The invoices will show in here. If you've applied any credits to the invoices, you'll see that amount here. The discounts will show here so that it reconciles to your total, the net check amount.
Okay.
Okay. So, and you'll see the total invoice amount here. So you can take your invoice total, less credits, less discount, to give you the net check amount. Okay, and then the body of the check will print under here. And this is really one of those reports where it's almost a given that it's going to be customized. What we would do is take a hard copy of a voided check that you have and basically reformat it so that it fits on your existing check stock.
Okay.
Okay, whether you have a middle copy check, bottom, top, or, okay, we can just format it the way you need it.
Okay.
Okay. Then the other one in AP would be maybe the 1099s, and I can show you that one as well. Okay. Now the way this one would work is you would identify which suppliers are, needing a 1099, and then it would essentially print for all the payments for these suppliers for the year that you want to print the report.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, is this particular report formatted to print on the actual form that you?
Yes.
The government
Yes, it
form?
is. Yep.
Okay.
And there is an option to print it 2 up if you need to.
Okay.
Okay, but it is, it's based on the standard government submitted form. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And you would actually tell the system what box the amount should print in. Okay, I think this is box 1. Okay, so you would indicate what specific box you want or you need the account to print. Okay, this would be the vendor's tax ID number and then your tax number.
Okay.
Other than that, it's basically your company information and your supplier's information.
Okay.
Okay. And then the couple in the GL that we can look at would be the balance sheet, of course, and the P&L. So we'll open up the balance sheet first. And you can print it for this year or last year and a specific period. You can filter it by a specific subcode, if you've got your accounts broken down by the various departments. Okay. And it's basically showing you this year's amounts and comparing to what you had last year.
Okay.
Okay. It's a very straightforward looking report, but again, it is just a crystal report. If it needs to be modified at all, if you have someone that knows crystal reports, or we can reformat it as well.
Okay.
Okay. And then we can look at the profit and loss. Okay, which can be run this year, actual versus budget, last year, or a date range. Okay. This one sometimes takes a couple of seconds to pull up. It also has the same filter by subcode capabilities.
Okay.
Okay. Which works well if you do have your GL codes broken down by departments. You can put a subcode filter on it and have the report print for just that particular department.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the report. Again, pretty straightforward with what you're looking for. The thing with the P&L is it will compare your current value with your budget value, both by the current period and by the year to date.
Okay.
Okay, if you have budgets. I don't have a whole lot set up here with the budget amounts, but if they were set up, you'd be able to see the comparison and the variance here.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I noticed there were an awful lot of other reports in the system.
Mhm.
What we covered today were what you called the business critical,
Yeah,
which would be sent out to customers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, these would be, just what you said. Basically, those that we would deem business critical. You can actually look forward to a separate video where we'll cover some of the other reports and go
Okay.
over some of that information as well.
Terrific.
Okay. Any other questions
No.
on these here?
I think you covered it very
Okay.
much. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Well, this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward to more to come.